Welcome back to Engine Shop Joe, as we're about halfway to three quarters through features and parameters. So let's get going. So we're starting at driver reward there where the green arrow is. The company I worked for did not use driver reward. A lot of big fleets use that. And when you turn that on, you go in and you set fuel mileages. So you might have 1 through 5, and you would set, if the driver gets 8 to 8.7 mile per gallon, he can have 5 mile an hour additional road speed for 2 hours for every 8 hours of that fuel mileage that he gets. And if he gets 7 to 8 miles a gallon, he can have 3 miles an hour over the set cruise or road speed or both for X amount of hours, or you could set it to X amount of miles. I've seen those set to 50 miles. And then what the driver would do is he could use that road speed when he wanted. So if the road speed was 5 miles an hour more than a set speed, he could wait until he was, say, 35 miles from home, and then he could step on the throttle and that road speed would be there for him because you're giving him 50 miles of additional fast road speed. So that's kind of what that is. It's complicated to set, and if you set it wrong, you can have a driver just quit. So that has to be set by somebody that really understands what they're doing. If it's off, I suggest you leave it off. Electrical system voltage, you tell the ECM whether it's a 12 or 24 volt, and it needs to know that. Engine brake control. So if you disable this, even if the truck has physical engine brakes, they don't work. If it has physical engine brakes and you enable it or turn it on, it works. The first setting is delay time. Don't change this if you don't understand what you're doing. Delay time is when the driver flips the Jake switch on and he's got his foot on the gas. As soon as he lets his foot off of that throttle, the ECM will go into engine brake mode if the truck's in gear, and it looks at delay time. And once that delay time is up, it will start the engine brakes working. So I always set this on stick shift trucks to about 0.5 to 1 second. So half a second to a second. Delay time. Some guys liked it at 0, but most guys are really happy with that half a second because if they, for some reason, just let their foot off for a split second, the Jakes are going to come on. Okay. Next, brake type. Oh, let me go back to delay time and say this. If the truck has an ultra shift or an automatic transmission, the transmission I'm talking about is the old mechanical transmissions that have an auto shift top on them, do not change delay time. You'll see that it'll be about 3 to 3.5 seconds. Do not lower that because if the transmission has to shift, it's not going to have time. So you'll cause problems if you change that. Engine brake type, you either have compression brake, you can have an inertia brake, you can have a magnetic brake. So most common is engine compression brake. Minimum vehicle speed. On the real heavy haulers, I used to set that to 3 miles an hour. The guys liked it at 0, but that's really hard on a drive line when you run it down to 0. So I used to set it at 3 miles an hour. In this case, it's set at 4. Sometimes factory will be, if you don't change that and Jakes are turned on, it'll be at 5 miles an hour, which is okay too. For the real heavy haulers, I tried to set it down to about 3 miles an hour, so that they had a lot of help slowing that vehicle down when they're coming to a stop. Clutch pedal activation, enable. That means this truck had a clutch and a stick shift in it. It was not an automatic. Whenever that clutch starts to go down, the Jakes turn off. Engine brake lamp. I almost never saw that turned on. That would just light up a light on the dash and tell the driver the Jakes were actually running. On the trucks I worked on, there was never a need for that. Service brake activation. I only ever met 2 drivers, and I remember distinctly 2 drivers that wanted that turned on. And what that means is this. He's going down the road. He starts down a big hill. He needs the Jakes on. He can flip the switch on. His foot's off the gas, but until he steps on the brake pedal, the Jakes will not start working. So every time he's got to hit that brake pedal or those Jakes will not start working. I think we can get through these a little quicker. Engine coolant level sensor installed or not installed. Engine oil pressure sensor installed or not installed. Engine protection. That means that if you lose oil pressure or the water gets too hot, those are non-adjustable levels. It's in the calibration. The engine will either start to derate or it'll kill road speed and torque or whatever you want to set it to. So in this case, it's enabled. It's enabled for coolant level. It's time-based shutdown. That's turned off. If that's turned on, it's 30 seconds and the check engine light will start flashing. The engine stop light will start flashing. Once that light starts flashing at the end of 30 seconds, the engine will shut off. Torque derate, if you turn that on, it will also offer a torque derate. Limited restart, if you turn that on, then he can only restart it usually about 5 times within 15 minutes, and then it's going to have to wait for about 30 minutes before it'll restart. Shutdown disabled in this case. Shutdown manual override. If you have shutdown enabled and the engine shuts off, and say he's on a bridge and what happened is his oil pressure sensor failed, there's nothing wrong because he's got a mechanical gauge and he knows there's oil pressure, you can have a button. You don't use a switch, you use a button he has to hold in, and as long as he holds that in, the engine will run. I've only ever seen that once in a vehicle. Enhanced auxiliary shutdown switch. You can put in other devices that watch different maybe mechanical things on the truck that will shut it down. Ether injection, yes or no. Rarely see that anymore. We'll stop there and start fan control next week. Thanks for joining me.